too. I just heard John's second half of show clip about the team, and I had to write in. I know it sounds outlandish, but in my opinion, it's actually a very important idea for all no agenda producers to familiarize themselves with. A very second topic is that this idea will actually become mainstream in the coming years. God bless. Curtis Thomas.
I'm actually sorry I did that. Sir Ron and Voighton, Floating. Yeah, well, it's $200. Dear John and Adam, wishing you both a Merry Christmas. Let's go for 4 more years.
Yo. That's not an Eagle, that's just a fucking Lancer. Oh, it's a Rallier. Lame. Fucking lame. It's not a real Evo. Saying how much they hate him. And apparently that's just out there.
You've sold us out to globalism.
Okay.
You are not working for Canada. You are working for your globalist partners. I wonder how much they're paying you to betray Canada. What do we do with traitors in Canada, Mr. Trudeau? We used to hang them for treason. And you're doing that very same thing to us now.
What gives you the right? What gives you the right to stay in office? You failed Canada. You've ruined our country. You're done. Walk away. You don't have an ounce of your father's. You've ruined this country. Everyone around you
jerking off
And talk
over
about
here.
him resigning.
Yes.
What changed? I wish Canadian would give us a briefing on this swapped out so quickly. It would have been this for the trucker strike.
Now they're
being news because problem.
yeah.
This guy, they need to use him.
That after Blinken and everyone went to Damascus, that apparently the U.S. had a $10 million bounty on this guy's head. Like, oh no, it's okay, we're dropping that bounty.
Yeah, they dropped the bounty because he's now in charge. Isn't that some sort of backdoor deal? Something happened. But let's play these dishes from the BBC again, Helena.
Syria's been released began appointing key ministers 2 weeks after the fall of Bashar al-Assad. The European Union, the UK, France and the United States will send delegations to the Syrian capital, Damascus, with the US scrapping a $10 million award
God
for
damn
the
it.
arrest of Syria's de facto leader, Ahmed al-Sharaa. While as the regime change continues to take shape, I've been speaking with the director of the Syria Conflict Research Programme at the London School of Economics, Dr. Reem Tokmar. Reem, thank you so much for being with us once again here on BBC News. Very good to see you. Before we delve deeper into that question of the transition now in Syria, I'd just like to begin by talking about how people in the country are currently faring. Can you give us an idea when it comes to their humanitarian needs, infrastructure, and so on? How are people doing?
The daily lives of ordinary Syrians right now vary significantly depending on the region. So in areas, many of the areas that were previously under regime control, like Homs, Hama, Damascus, there's a sense of relief to, that the Syrian regime is gone. However, in the coastal areas and part of the countryside, fear persists about the future, what might hold, and potential retribution. In the northeast, which is under SDF control, there is also tension, fears about potential clashes with Turkey-backed forces. But despite the regional differences, the one common threat that unites
Freaking hate this kind of traffic, man. It's just infuriating to deal with. Because you can never get a good following distance, you can never maintain a fucking speed, passing's a pain in the ass.
90% of the Syrians were in poverty, and around 13 million were food insecure.
Man, I don't believe a word of this.
And the more you and I talk about it, the more people get mad at me. You have no idea what he did. You have no idea how bad he was.
I went in as an exercise. And we have to harken back to the earlier days when he was being visited by all the Hollywood celebrities and everything was getting blown up all over the place. So I went to Flickr, which is still there, and they still have all the, and looked up Damascus, Syria. I looked up to see photos that people, tourists, of the areas, and I don't see 90%. You look around, these guys are going all over the place. Flickr is really a good resource for looking at pictures. That normal people go, snapshots. And there's just these pictures. I don't see any evidence of 90%. They're big markets. I don't see any evidence of 90% food insecurity. I don't see any of that stuff that what this guy just said.
I don't understand. Maybe it's all in homes and we're getting that information. And you got pictures of homes? Homes?
They have pretty much all over the country pictures. And you don't see anything that implies what this guy just said. It just it just seems like a pack of lies. And the fact that this guy that had a $10 million bounty, which is not trivial, on his, they only had $50,000 for the healthcare shooter. $10 million on his head, and now all of a sudden, it's fine and dandy. This is an op. There's clip 2.
and these numbers have deteriorated after the fall because of many infrastructure have collapsed. There is still a struggle for daily services. People are getting hardly an hour of electricity, especially in areas that were under regime control. There's a price hike as well. So the sudden change in the regime also went to change in the economy. The regime had a subsidy over basic commodities like bread, fuel, and now this is being lifted. So suddenly the price of bread went up tenfold overnight. The cost of commuting went up fourfold overnight. So ordinary people are really struggling to survive, despite that sense of relief and joy that finally the regime is gone.
We have seen a number of international delegations visiting Syria this week, including representatives from here in the United States. Have you learned anything new about the discussions, about any kind of perhaps provisional agreements, or at least how those governments will interact with each other after those visits?
And providing international assistance for reconstructions.
I didn't learn much from that.
Yeah, there's international assistance for construction. That's kind of like, okay.
Oil, gas, the gas pipeline, Qatar pipeline, something like that, maybe.
The whole thing is sketchy.
Well, then
I'm surprised anyone gets mad. It's been sketchy forever.
You have to know that he had hundreds of thousands of prisoners and he was incinerating them in underground ovens. Yeah, this is what I'm being told, but we never heard this before, ever. I don't know why.
Oh, shit.
Okay, this was kind of interesting for reasons that I don't think everyone really realized. Igor Kirillov, the guy who was killed, the Russian.
Oh yeah, this is interesting. Exactly, this is good.
Yeah, let's have a couple of clips here. That's a little backgrounder here.
Turning now to some breaking news out of Russia, where the bloodshed from the Ukraine war has now reached the front door of the Kremlin. Take a look at this video, which appears to show the assassination of Lieutenant General Igor Kirillov, the head of Russia's chemical, radiological, and biological weapons unit, happening just miles from the Kremlin. Ukraine's security service claimed responsibility for the killing. The explosive device was planted in a scooter next to the entrance of a Moscow apartment building, and the blast killing both Kirillov and his assistant. NBC's Keir Simmons has the details. Keir?
Yesterday, Ukraine charged Lieutenant General Kirillov with war crimes. Today, they say they have killed him in Moscow. Russian media reporting a bomb was taped to the handle of a scooter.
Yeah, it was quite dramatic, and of course we had video of it, and I think this report also has a nat pop.
This morning in Moscow, a dramatic explosion, killing a key Russian general and his assistant. The blast, so powerful, it blew the bricks from the walls. And the remains of a scooter, it was loaded with explosives, Ukraine says. An operation both audacious and precise, the bomb detonating as he moved between a building and a car. And Ukraine's most ambitious assassination, deep inside Russia since the war began. Lieutenant General Igor Kirillov was chief of the Russian Army's Chemical Weapons Division. He was sanctioned by the UK in October. Orders to use prohibited chemical weapons against the Ukrainian military. Such an inglorious end awaits all who kill Ukrainians. The source asking for anonymity because they aren't authorized to discuss it publicly. Russian state television leading with news of the killing, saying the bomb was remotely operated. Power comes as the war, started after Russia invaded Ukraine, enters its third year. Both sides still taking massive losses. Already, Russian investigators are calling the bombing an act of terrorism, but they will be under pressure to explain another high-profile assassination in the Russian capital.
So this is kind of standard reporting. I can't buy that somehow Ukraine is able to kill this guy in Moscow, but this next clip leads me into some interesting things this guy is saying that might explain this assassination.
Kirillov was just charged on Monday by Ukraine for using banned chemical weapons during Russia's invasion. We know he was a big player in Russia's propaganda apparatus, constantly spreading lies about Ukraine and America. He once claimed the U.S., in fact, was planning to use drones designed to spread infected mosquitoes. And as the head of the biological weapons unit, he was accused of using a riot control gas against Ukrainian troops that caused extreme and pain in the eyes and lungs.
It's just tear gas.
Bigger
What the hell are they
picture
talking
here,
about?
Carol, what does this mean
Yes.
for the Russian war effort and Kremlin's overall goals, do you think?
Well, I think they're going to focus their attention on the battlefield. They are making progress, like I suggested. By the way, General Kirillov was also accused of using not just riot control agents, CS and CN, but also nitrochloroform, which was used in the First World War and is banned by the Chemical Weapons Treaty, to which Russia is a signatory.
Okay, so tear gas. Oh my goodness, how horrible!
Oh, tear gas. They use CS gas, I might add, during the riots in Berkeley.
Yeah,
Of the students.
we use that on our citizens here. What's the big deal? But it was some things he said on Russia. You heard about the mosquitoes from drones? That was interesting. And I have here some audio, which I will translate in real time, of Kirillov on Russian television. So the reporter says, the growth in illnesses caused by atypical infections has been noted in a number of countries right now. So can we say that this is the result of some help from American biologists? And he answers, we can't say this so indiscriminately. We are public officials after all. As for biological weapons, if we assess the damage caused by COVID over the course of 2 years and around the world, the reporter says the main pandemic lasted 2 years. He says it cannot even be compared with the damage of World War II. It is dozens of times greater. However, those who make the profits, such as big, she says, pharmaceutical companies, and he says profits of the pharma companies, which are in the U.S., are colossal. So that's the first clip, and then the second clip. The question is being asked to provide documents. So, action of the U.S. talking about it has not a single region of documents we sent these documents to the United Nations. I presume about the documents found about biolabs in Ukraine.
Yes, I think there were 11 of them.
The report replied is all interest in the security of the USA, and you have to trust us. Reporters trust them blindly. And he says, yes, trust them blindly. They have a policy of global biological control. They understood that this works, and that by creating artificial crises, which are biological in nature, they can rule the world. There's nothing they do for free. Even when they provide supplies to certain states free of charge, they are not as free of charge as they say. So this guy was a problem.
He was.
Yeah, and so, yeah, all those, oh yeah, Ukraine did this. Sure, Ukraine killed him. I don't believe it for a second. You see, I don't either. Very unhandy to have this happening. This guy out there running around shooting his mouth off.
Yeah, this was some high-end pros that killed this guy.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was well done. Well done.
Yeah, he was shooting his mouth off about the biological labs all around Ukraine, which was in the conversation when the war first broke out. Disappeared from the discussion, especially in the mainstream media. Nobody wants to talk about it or say anything about it.
No.
And this guy keep bringing it up, and other things, issues that I didn't hear about the mosquitoes, but that sounds like something we dream up, some crackpot idea.
It sounds like it. Yeah. I have a little bit of climate change stuff if you want to switch.
I actually have 2 clips too.
Well, why don't you give us some climate change clips?
The minor, so it'd be probably best to start with these. This is about the key deer, which is a little bitty deer. It's like a deer. It's like a white-tailed deer that's a deer. And well, yeah, by the way, I plague a deer in my yard.
Oh no.
And they got the biggest ears, these particular brands.
The easy to just shoot at.
The old trick is you put a salt lick down somewhere and then you just drop them. Kill them, shoot them easy.
Okay.
And it's all because of climate change, and there's a couple of statements in here that are just worth it.
There's a type of white-tailed deer that's unique to the Florida Keys. It's been on the endangered species list for nearly 60 years, and only about 800 of them remain. And its habitat is under growing threat from rising sea levels. William Brangham has the latest in our series, Saving Species.
These tiny deer roam freely across front yards and graze on the side of the road on some of the many islands of the lower Florida Keys.
They are very gentle, very, very gentle. And the longer you live here, the more you want to protect them.
The key deer is the smallest subspecies of the North American white-tailed deer. They're about the size of a golden retriever.
They only come to about 24 to 30 inches at shoulder height, so they are substantially smaller, and they're only found here in the Florida Keys.
The first written record of the key deer came from a 16th century Spanish shipwreck survivor. They currently live on only about 24 of the Keys' 1,700 islands, swimming or wading between them and living in the mangroves, pine rocklands, and freshwater wetlands.
Climate change is the thing that's going to get them.
But it's those very habitats that are under threat from rising sea levels. Chris Berg is with the Nature Conservancy.
This is a success story until now. These animals have been doing very well. They've been coming back. Population is not only stable but growing. But it's only a matter of time as the sea continues to rise that their habitat availability is the thing that undoes the key deer.
Oh boy, climate.
So in the second clip, they're going to talk about rising sea levels.
But the National Ocean...
Wait. So I just thought I'd interrupt it as we speak and ask you, what do you think the sea level rise are going to say? What do you think it's going to be? It's going to be 17 centimeters, like 12 centimeters, a foot. What do you think? Will it take much to kill the deer? Well, let's play the clip and you'll find out.
The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration estimates that in 75 years' time, sea levels around parts of the Keys could rise 1.5 to 7
feet. Come on, 7 feet.
Oh man. Well, the reality of climate change is here, and boy, do we notice that in Italy, up in the mountain. They had completely redone during COVID, redid the entire little mini resort there. They had not had snow there for 5 years. 5 years. 5 years, no snow due to climate change. And this year, there's snow due to climate change.
From record-breaking temperatures to devastating disasters, 2024 brought us closer to the reality of what climate change looks and feels like. According to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, the Atlantic Basin experienced 18 named storms throughout the year. Between January and November, the average U.S. temperature was 57 degrees Fahrenheit, roughly 3 degrees above average, and the warmest ever for that period. During that same time, precipitation levels totaled more than 29 inches, which is roughly 1.5 inches more than average. CBS News national environmental correspondent David Schechter joins us now. David, 2023 was the hottest on record. How did 2024 fare?
They're always bringing me in for the good news here. 2024 is set to be even hotter than 2023. This will mark for the first time ever that our average temperature on the planet will be warmer than 1.5 degrees above pre-industrial numbers. 1.5 is this key number that came out of the Paris Climate Accord in 2015. That was where we're supposed to stay below 1.5 degrees Celsius. The issue here is that it's a combination of average of years, so we haven't violated that climate accord yet, but we're certainly not heading in the right direction at all.
That was new. That was new to me. It's not 1.5 per year. It's an average. How many years? Average of what?
Moving the goalposts. We change the way the calculations done. This is what we do with our economic data.
Oh, speaking of such.
We saw devastating heat waves, hurricanes made worse by climate change. How many major events impacted the U.S. and how is
Well, we talk about billion-dollar weather disasters. That's sort of the number that is a threshold for a huge disaster.
Wait a minute. Billion-dollar disasters. So that's just a made-up number, which, by the way, $1 billion was $1 million 50 years ago. So this was a moving target. They're just making it up as they go along. A major disaster is $1 billion.
The U.S. experienced 24 of those weather disasters and climate disasters from January through November of 2024 of this year, and that is only second to the number of 28 that was last year. These $24 billion emergencies resulted in an estimated 418 deaths, $61 billion in damage, and to your point, these storms are not caused, these emergencies not caused by climate change, just juicing the conditions and sort of loading the dice to make it potentially worse.
Oh, it's such a scam. Juicing and loading the dice.
Yeah. All right. I just wanted to. We gotta hear what some people think, but I do have a real news. This was an amazing real news story that I just.
Tonight at 29 killed attempted murder charges from Cuba and vegan strip club on Saturday.
Come on. Vegan strip club. Is Robin working there? Vegan.
Here she comes. Oh, she's lost a lot of weight.
Vegan strip club. Do you have anything? Can you top that as well?
No, I can't top that, so you
We got some dynamite end of show mixes. We have John's tip of the day, of course. Everybody looking forward to the tip of the day. We do have some Knights and Dames, which is nice, and some great meetup reports. So, John, 50 support this episode 20.
yeah. You're gonna have to read $5 exactly. So she, but it's all night.
Sir PBR Street Gang gifted his winning meeting raffle ticket to Nadir, who added dollars to it, then switcherooed it to achieve this mom's damehood, whose note follows. In the morning, Adam and John, I appreciate all you do. Excited to finally be a dame of the best podcast in the universe. My name will be Dame Steph of the Dark Side. For the round table, I'd like Twizzlers, potato chips and guacamole. I'd like to thank my son Nadir for being so generous, for helping me get here. We are both devoted No Agenda fans. Have a happy 2025, and may your year be full of laughter, happiness, and many, many cats. And then it says, Jingle, you fools, you stupid fools. We don't have a you fools, you stupid fools jingle that I can recall.
I never heard of one.
Well, we can do a service code, though. That we can do with a car mention.
You've got.
So this is from Martin McIntyre. I'll have to read this too. Mount Laurel, New Jersey, and he says 138.42. Rest in peace, Big Mac, and Merry Christmas to all. Note I paid the fee, but the donation amount is 131.42. My dad's birthday, he passed away on the 7th of December. And so I decided to read it. Franklin, Tennessee.
That's one of your Mercy Me boys right there.
There you go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We get Mercy Me is. It's interesting that we have these bands that listen to us. William Cotter in St. Paul, Minnesota. 120. No, she's in Iceland. She doesn't know where she is. Experience around. Oh, it says she had a bunch of problems with drones.
Oh.
PSYOP is advanced.
Yes.
That's because they shut down an airport or something. She got stuck. Robin Tolbert in Topeka, Kansas, 100. Ian Field, 100. Henry Davis in St. Petersburg, 100. Dude named Ben in Czechoslovakia. Or CZ, Czech Republic. I think it's Czech Republic. And he needs a de-douching for his friend Libor.
You've been de-douched.
Brian Lillard in Prosper, Texas, 8888. Allison O, Round Rock, Texas, and this is 88, but it's another one. Is a switcheroo for Tonight My Dad, Rick O. You might as well read this note because it's a nighting.
In the morning, John Adam, like a good human resource, I've hit my dad, Rick O, several times in the mouth over the years and finally left a mark. Now he listens often and we will discuss topics from the show when we talk. I was working my way to knighthood and this donation was to get me there, but I cannot in good faith accept. This is a switcheroo to give my dad his knighthood for Christmas. Merry Christmas, Dad. I know I speak for all three kids when I say how blessed and grateful we are to have you as a dad. For the round table and call him Knight of the Coonsaw River, unless he writes in for a name. Happy holidays. Sir.
8008, he's the Archduke of Luna, lover of American boobs, 8008. That's for show 1722, and here he is again, 8008 for show 1723. David Steinmeier in Lakeview, Michigan, 8008. Another got a birthday donation for himself or for somebody. 6906 and West Wing, Minnesota, 530. For
with the message I have.
That's the cops. Is 70. Rick is no 69. Which somebody named to do Barron, Wisconsin, 69. Sparks 33. Merry Christmas. Whoops, again in the next. Oh, yeah. Sparks Nevada 633. In 6035. Sir Kevin O'Brien in Chicago 6006. Kyle Tuhig. TWOHIG. Liberty Lake, Washington. This is actually a switcheroo for Dame Jen with a G, protector of women's vaginas. Yay. 6006, also small boobs. Les Starkowski in Kingman, Arizona, 6006. Paul Webb in Twickenham, UK, 5555. Merry Christmas. James Edmondson in South Plainfield, New Jersey, 5510. Dean Roker, 5510. Tony Helfs in Fort Worth, and this says TU. Oh, that came as a check, so it's Texas. That's switcheroo to my son Brian Helfs, 5510. Adam Burst in Alexandria, New South Wales, 5272. Jerome Van Heringen.
Jeroen van Heringen.
I can't do it. It's Foothill Ranch, California, 5272. Your show is valuable.
Yay.
Robert Newell, 5250. Baron Henry, Pancho. Rancho Palos Verdes, 5242. No Agenda merch, New Hampshire. Yeah, there you go. No Agenda merch, 51. All proceeds donated to No Agenda show.
Oh, okay.
Use ITM for free shipping. NoAgendaMerch.com.
They have stickers.
Stickers.
Yes.
Forrest Martin, 5005. Andrew Benz in Imperial, Missouri, 5005. Now the rest of these people are $50 donors. I'm just going to run through them. Name and location, starting with Braxall Brands LLC in Gallatin, Tennessee. Gallatin. Corey Bennett in Denver, Colorado. Scott Lavender in Montgomery, Texas. Luke Olson in Alexandria, Virginia. Andrew Gusick in Greensboro, North Carolina. Corey Katz in Cave Creek, Arizona. Natalie Martin in Snohomish, Washington. Nicholas Rudowich in Harpers Ferry, West Virginia. Michael Sikora in New Richmond, Wisconsin.
Sorry, Carl. I'm heavy. damn it.
Like having folks around you without knowing is the lie. Hip hop ain't it, it's just the context inside. If context be a heart, they got some sticks to stay alive. I ain't heard a love song in over a decade, that's beyond me. But I cry tears now when I hear what's love by Fat Joanna Shiny. Past too good, where we had too problematic. People forgot how to dream and they became some fame addicts. I can't overlook it, to me it's the definition track. The world needing some
Joel Blazer. What the fuck is going on?
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Doesn't it feel good?
Yes.
It feels good, dude. Every now and again, just to jump in hot, get the juices flowing. So Joel Blazer, so we met in Milwaukee. I saw you on Soft White Underbelly, and I was taken by it. I was like, dude, this is crazy. I think you're one of their best guests. They've done some.
Thank you.
They've interviewed a lot of people, but I just kind of struck me. I saw you. I was like, man, this guy is the man. We talked, and then eventually we met in Milwaukee.
It was pure accident. I had this fucked up post on Instagram. My phone's off. It's like, you're talking right to me. You didn't even see me. And I grabbed my phone, and I'm like, okay, no, they're going to kick me out. You can't turn the phone on, because I wanted to erase it. It was just some fucking negative bullshit. Like, because at the show, you can't turn your phone on.
Right.
So then I go out, and I wouldn't even have turned my phone on had I not had that thought, which you inspired me for the thing. And then you're like, dude, I saw you come back to the green room. I'm like, right up.
I couldn't miss it. I'm obviously sealing your rib right now. Couldn't miss it.
That was fucking rad as fuck, dude.
My friend, I think Nate, you met Nate.
Yes.
Nate comes, I think it was AJ. AJ comes back, and he's like, yeah, there's a guy that we all like. And I was like, I know who that is. That's Joel Blazer. I was like, dude, hell yeah. So, yeah, we talked a little bit, and then we met, dude, you're the fucking man. We met in Milwaukee. You gave me signed copies to Nate and AJ of your book.
Gave him a little note.
Letters of Mary. The notes were, I thought, beautiful, man. They're weird. I gave them the books. They're just beautiful notes. You're the man. You're an absolute beast. When we went to the steakhouse, 5 o'clock steakhouse.
Yes.
Might have been the best steak I've ever had in my life, dude. I'm not lying. It was good. It was so good. And then the thing that me was, I've never seen this happen before. You showed up. You had an incident with gasoline.
Oh my god, dude. That was, dude.
You smelled like gasoline. You showed up. We were all sitting there eating, and I'm like, I thought you were working with power tools all day. So I'm like, maybe he was like chainsawing all day or something. I don't want to be rude to him. What the fuck? Why you smell like gas?
The motherfucker clicked. I'm sitting in the car, the thing's full, it clicked, I pull it out, dude, and it just was squirting, and it just squirted on the car and splashed.
Yeah, you got drenched with gasoline.
Like, that is wicked.
Bro, I swear to God, it was such a pungent
I'm like,
smell.
what am I gonna do?
You had to show up. It was a beast move.
You could have lit me on fire if you were smoking cigarettes.
I seriously was concerned. I was worried someone was gonna order like off Monday or something. Because it was a big gasoline smell. Although that's kind of the most manly, cologne.
Maybe we could start it. Letters from Mary and gasoline.
But yeah, so and this is what kind of got my interest. I watched you on Soft White Underbelly. You had the story basically about going to a Supermax prison for selling, LSD. And the case was crazy. We talked about it. It was just, you sent, LSD in the mail, Western Union. Some guy got caught. He never got caught with it, right?
No, his friend got caught. Okay. And then his friend just told on him. They showed up at his front door, and he just told him this crazy story.
Right.
So wasn't indicted. He just completely right on his front step.
Jesus Christ. And then he gave you up. And then you got on some bullshit trial where it was like you never got caught with drugs, but there was enough circumstantial evidence to suggest that you had to use a fake name in Western money and LSD around. And he sentenced you.
151 months, 12 years, 7 months, which I jumped for joy. That was short.
Yeah.
When I was facing 40 and I get 151, I looked at my mom and I just went like this, like,
really? You turned around?
Yes, because I'm like, it's 151. Like, at least 40 when you're 23.
Your whole life. Gone.
You're like, how do you look down that hallway?
True.
151, it's like, okay, I can file some appeals, maybe I'll get lucky, and I did. But
that was 1992. So this is like, it's crazy to think about the drug laws back. Because even like weed back then, you could go to jail for like 4 or 5 years for selling weed. You got enough.
When we drove through Texas or Vegas, Nevada, like the older deadheads, like the shit was hid. You couldn't do anything. Ponytails back. Like you just had to get through the state, especially Texas. They said if we get pulled over and they find me, we are all going to prison.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And now look.
Yeah, well,
and so we paved the way. I should put a collection bucket out.
You should. Well,
that's the young people have no fucking clue, man.
Yeah, even the early 2000s, it was like you could go to jail for like little bullshit like weed and stuff. soft, obviously soft.
There's still some. There's 25 states where it's illegal, right?
Yeah, Texas is still illegal. Like, if you Austin, you're fine. If you have weed in Austin, they don't care. If you leave Austin, you can still they'll like throw you in the.
It's in front of the hotel. Everybody.
They don't care in Austin. But if you isn't that right, Josh? I think if you leave Austin and you get caught with weed, like I knew someone.
So it's decriminalizing Austin proper.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, at least they don't prosecute it at all.
It's the lib side.
It's a lib. This is a lib haven. Yeah, they actually have like decent food here, but you know, deal with all that stuff. But yeah, man, you can in Austin. I knew someone who got pulled over with a vape cartridge and got like held overnight.
In Austin?
No, outside.
Oh,
Austin. Austin's a safe haven.
So where do they sell it here?
Yeah, it's like now we have that weird where it's like hemp bill. The hemp bill.
Oh yeah,
allowed.
Exactly. If you get it from hemp, you can. It's like
or the big thing's THCA. THC is what's illegal. THCA. Now you have to like heat up. But now if you have that extra carbon like heat foods, weed's legal now.
Completely clear?
No, Texas is like I think it's I don't think they even have.
I think all drugs should be legal in the world. That's really one of the driving forces behind the book, is to be part of that.
Yeah, dude, it's like
it hasn't worked. I mean, look at the prisons.
Well, what happened in Portugal? Did Portugal? Yeah, I mean, obviously a lot of people.
They did. It was much smaller. The Cato Institute did a big study. I wrote a couple op-eds for that. I don't remember all the statistics, but they would track it all the way to like when kids first tried drugs, and it just had a positive impact on all the metrics of drug use, amount of drug use when they stop, and then when you go in to do it, they say if you get addicted or you want help, here it is. But there's a lot of moms whose young daughters and sons have OD'd and died that if it was legal, they wouldn't have died. Yeah. And take the Mexican cartel would go out of business like that. Think of that. So
that's the big one. Yeah. Well, that's the. But here's the thing. I read the book Chasing the Scream. Great book.
Yes.
They talk about that. How like in London they would give people heroin, and then if you had someone, they had to go to a center and the heroin was clean. Like there were way less deaths. But now the critique in America is like
well, it's a cesspool. America did it wrong. Like Oregon and Seattle are just like a whole area.
Exactly. It does give the harm reduction stuff a bad name because it's like if you just let people lay on the street, you're like, oh, here's needles. And then my friend Jared Klickstein was actually living in Skid Row for a while, and he said the problem was you like throw these guys in like an apartment, like, oh, here, we're gonna move your house, and then they OD and die. No one finds them by themselves rather than they're outside.
But if both metrics were the same, legal and illegal, there's still the metric of the criminal elements out of it.
Yeah, exactly.
We get the money that we can bring back in.
Yeah, that's true. And it's also, it loses a lot of the allure. It's like, if you're telling me if I got to go to like a professional office building to like go do heroin, I'm going to be like,
you're going to start to question it. You're going to think, what am I doing? Where's my life going?
Yeah, what the fuck am I doing? It's not the thrill of like, you're getting it. It takes the rock and roll element out. I think could work. It always is a personal choice. It is like, it comes down to personal choice.
What I do with my head is my business. Can a government really tell me?
Yeah, well, apparently they told you. They sent you to jail for fucking 15 years. So, dude, you have a book. It's called Letters from Marion. I read it. I love the book, dude. I thought it was great. The book was fantastic. It kind of
gave me that shout out about the Jack Rag on another podcast.
Yes, I did. Actually,
I hearted it too.
Dude, I'm glad. It's got to cross a weird threshold though for other prisoners to be like, yo, here's how you jerk off. Because I know in jail it's like
Nikki at the third place. Yeah, Nikki told me. He started to tell me, and I thought he was fucking with me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but he's not gay. Sparky already got me stoned with all this weed. And then I'm like, all right, I'm gonna try it. And I did. It's wicked.
And what was the technique again? You roll the socks inside out?
So it's smooth. And then you're not actually like going up and down on the shaft. And it's hard when you get a really big hard on. But you grab the shaft, and then that heat created, and then right after you throw that fucker out.
You were telling me this made me like, you're 23 years old.
Sobering experience. I went to that cell and I just started to think, what do I want to do? What am I going to do when I get out?
fucking hit it. I made myself come hard, dude. And then I'm like, kid, you mean I might have been getting to the dead male prison guard. That'd be very lucky. So I don't know. I've never had to deal with that. But you never had it. That was your primary concern. It's like going in. You want to have to get raped, get my asshole filled with cum. Can I say that? You can say that, yeah. It's your journey. No, man. Dude, that's a real fucking fear. I'd be terrified, man. Because we're down where? In like Kentucky? Yes. That trial was in Covington, Kentucky, 6th District. The first prison was like really low and normal, but you know, as it progressed, and the thing is, the face of the medium security prisons at that time changed. So normal medium security in the 80s, you might have bank robbers, a couple drug dealers. The average sentence was maybe 6, 8, 10 years. But now, every other fucking guy at 30, 35 years, and they're young. So it was like, that was like a penitentiary and a medium, because like, you know, if a dude's got 35 or 40 years and he's 25 and he's disrespected, like, what the fuck does he have to lose? Exactly. It's not like you have 8 or 10 and you got an out day and you're close, right? So like, the tensions were different. And also, I did like that. I have to say, like, so you're there, you know, that just being like, look, I'm gonna try to seriously get that when I get out. I'm gonna surf around the world when I get out, and then just like, you know, and it is funny to like just jerk off. It is something. There's something serious about that level of acceptance to be like, this is my situation. Because I feel like people in and out of jail struggle with that, of like just accepting your lot in life and just kind of like getting with the program rather than just constantly spinning yourself out. Acceptance. It's a big thing.
Podbean, your message amplified.
Ready to share your message with the world? Start your podcast journey with Podbean.
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 Podbean. Podbean. The AI-powered all-in-one podcast platform.
Thousands of businesses and enterprises trust Podbean to launch their podcasts.
Launch your podcast on Podbean today.
My school uses Podbean.
My church, too.
I love it. I really do.
JN 537. What's up, boys?
How's it going? Not too much. I saved my kitchen from like a potentially calamitous mess like 40 minutes ago. Like maybe
overpopulated with cheese.
Overpopulated with cheese. That's not an issue. That's a problem to be solved. Problem later tonight. But my girlfriend, like a month or so ago, we had some company over, and she wanted to make some like fun drink. So like warmed apple cider, and then like adding rum into it, and she and her friends were enjoying that. And there was a whole extra like giant thing of apple cider that she had only used like a little bit out of. And then she put the top back on it and put that in the back of my pantry. And I didn't get some stuff out. Recognizable shape from like the milk gallon. It was visibly strained. And so I had to take it out in my garage, like burp it and then pump it all out. I didn't need to take it to my garage. I was anticipating it like spraying out potentially.
Like soda.
Yeah, and it didn't. But what I noticed immediately, and this was non-alcoholic cider, like it smelled like booze now. So it had like an alcohol content. If I would have left it the week, it may have blown up in my pantry, covered everything with booze.
It's so funny you mentioned that. I watched a YouTube video today. The guy takes like a gallon of Welch's grape juice and turns it into wine, like step by step. And he's like, it's good wine. Like, this is really good wine. And I was like, okay, what do I need? What do I need? And I looked over my left shoulder at the pile of wine I've been gifted over the years. And I'm like, what are you doing? You gonna craft your own wine, not drink? When there's like craftsmen have made the bottles by you, probably, who knows? But I would say they range in price from $12 to like, I don't know, $200 or something. I probably have a nice bottle or two that I've been gifted over the years. But I don't drink that shit. It gives me like heartburn. I don't like that. I don't like
wine stinks and I don't like it. And I've done the same thing where like I'll have a bottle of wine in my kitchen forever, and then just randomly, like 10 months down the road, I'm like, you know what? I've had that half bottle of wine in there. Maybe this is the time you'll try wine and be like, I get it. Yep. And then I go and I look at it and it's like, ooh, that's a lot of stuff in the bottom. I don't think that's what wine is supposed to be like. I think it's on the fast track to becoming vinegar by that point. So you probably have a ton of vinegar, really.
maybe. I don't know how long it takes for that to happen. I know that not all wines are improving over time. Like that's not like a ubiquitous thing with wines. Like some of them are just like, whoa. She was good 6 years ago. Now you've got poison.
Yeah.
I read something about the world's oldest wine. It's been tasted like 3 times in history. They've like, they open the cork and they drop that little scoopy scoop thing in there and they get a little out and like the queen will have a glass or something. I know they had a glass after World War II ended, and then 2 more glasses going back in history, like several hundred years. Similar.
It's the same wine.
It's a giant cask of wine that's the oldest wine that's drinkable. They have found wine. Yeah, but that's not like drinkable. It's what I mentioned a minute ago. The wine that doesn't improve over time eventually.
Yeah, it's just vinegar at this point, which I guess is what any of it turns into if you oxidize it and just let it sit.
I guess I don't know shit about wine.
I don't know, but I remember it made me think how many times when I was underage in high school, this would have been a good solution. A month from now, I'm having friends over, so I'm going to get 8 gallons of apple cider and a bunch of Welch's, and then I'll dump out 10% of each of them, and then just leave it in the back of my closet and burp it every so often.
You don't even know. It's better than that. You can, with a little bit of chemistry.
I just see Taylor poisoning all his high school friends. Is there something else going on?
Well, there was everyone would have drank it. They would have
Trust me, bro, it's probably safe.
Yeah, it's
there's a couple ways.
It's 7% alcohol, as much sugar as a Snickers.
No, that's what I'm saying. You could either distill it, which isn't that hard, or you could freeze distill it, because the water will turn to ice, but the alcohol will remain liquid, and you can just continually pour out the alcohol, reconcentrate it. Or you could distill it, where you boil it, and then the steam goes through a cooling coil of copper, and then the alcohol itself drips out, but everything else, the water vapor, it leaves and goes bye-bye.
Is this Discovery Channel Kyle or Prison Kyle?
This is Kyle.
This is kind of those general knowledge about things.
I just know that you can reconcentrate your own booze to make it strong booze. You get close to vodka.
That makes sense.
Real quick.
Yeah, I was just surprised how rapidly that happened. It's maybe been 3-4 weeks, and it was when I opened it, I hadn't I knew what was happening with the creation of alcohol, but I wasn't expecting to smell alcohol. It smelled like a drink you'd order at a bar or something.
I was watching this thing about this YouTube channel. I don't remember the name, but they go animal by animal. Each episode's a different animal. And it's why it sucks to be insert animal. And I was watching why it sucks to be a honeybee. And every job in the hive fucking blows. Being a man is the worst thing that could possibly happen to you, because there are no good man jobs.
Are they all men except the queen? Or are there more women?
Isn't there only one good female job in the whole thing?
No. So the men are only there in case they need some quick semen. That's it. So they're relegated. They do nothing. And anytime there's a crisis,
a good job so far.
Yeah, the mating dance happens in a crisis, because the queen only mates once, and she saves up enough semen to last her entire life. So let's say the queen dies. There's multiple if this then that. It's like an RPG with what happens if the queen dies versus what happens if she becomes infertile. But long story short, a new queen flies up in the air, releases hormones, and the males fly out and they do their mating dance. And they all have sex with her. And once they come in her, she flies away to find a new male, ripping their dick and their internal organs off. So they fall down and die. No!
That seems like a bad system. Couldn't that bee serve more use stinging or pollinating?
No. They don't have stingers. And they don't have the pollen sacs, or the pollen baskets, I think they're called, on the back legs. The males are literally there for emergency cum. And so anytime there is a crisis in the hive, emergency, whatever, they just kill them. Just immediately kill all the men, get rid of them. You're taking up too much space. We're not going to feed guys. We don't need them anytime soon. It was horrific, the life of a honeybee.
What other animals to be?
Most of
all of them. There are no good ones. I mean, even us, it's kind of blows.
Being the largest
I brought that up because they talked about how sometimes the pollen or the nectar will be fermented, and the honeybees will drink the fermented nectar and get drunk and just fly in circles and drop out of the air.
I've seen that.
Stuff.
I watched some clip about bees where apparently, like, because you're right, bees like drinking ethanol and it fucks them up the way it fucks humans up, and
they don't know.
You can see them like stumbling, and if like a bee gets back to the hive and he's still like wasted, there are like guard bees who are like, oh, hold on, you're gonna we communicate by dancing, and your dancing is off because you're drunk, so you're gonna hang out here until you sober up, and then we'll let you.
Sometimes they'll kill them. Sometimes they'll kill them, right?
Yeah. Those are the Muslim bees.
Yeah.
Bees might not get intentionally drunk, but monkeys do. And I like that a lot. They see the apples that fell 3 weeks ago, and they're like, the apples are getting good.
Yeah.
Let's party, boys.
They're just like a hammered baboon sitting under a tree is so funny. Just like standing up and wobbling around. It doesn't really understand what's going on. It's just like, man, I know this makes me feel awesome, and the next day I'm pretty off. When I wake up, I'm not quite as spry on the limbs as I'm accustomed to.
I've never gotten a dog drunk, but I've gotten my dogs high accidentally so many times. You know, they've accidentally gotten into edibles. And, you know, little fucker. And you know when it's happened. It's like, okay, one of two things. You just had a brain aneurysm and you're dying right now, or you're high as a motherfucker. Like, this poor little German Shepherd mix, like, can't stand. And she's, like, looking at me all sideways.
I think it's 1/3 your weight. Like,
oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And no tolerance.
And no tolerance, and who knows, like, if a dog liver is even as good at metabolizing the weed as we are, like, maybe it's triply effective on them or something because dog livers aren't as good or whatever. But it's all of that, and who knows how much she ate? Because, like, we just found this chewed up old brownie that was like my girlfriend's from 3 years ago. In the back of her closet, there was a brownie from like Bonnaroo or some shit. And it was like, he ate that motherfucker, and there's no dosage. It's just, you see the chewed up, I'm like Sherlock Holmes in there, putting the clues together, trying to figure out if the dog ate a roach trap or got high. Because it's one or the other, and either the dog is dying, or we just need to like turn
or he's in for a horrible 20-hour period.
Yeah.
Really sobers up.
Scary. It's scary.
Yeah.
I feel bad for him, because I know how it feels.
I've never accidentally gotten my dog high. I've mentioned a couple times my brother did it twice when he was in high school by like having edibles under his bed, and then our little white fluffy dog Tobo would eat it, and he'd just come out like just looking absolutely bewildered, and all you could do is like hold his like stressed out body and be like, it's okay, buddy, it's all good, and his eyes are all weepy, and it's like the whole time it's like, oh, I hope he's not absolutely panicking.
Yeah, I try to get him to sleep it off, and you know, but it lasts all day, and it's scary. It's happened a couple times.
Yeah.
The little dog, little Murphy, when Murphy was like 7 pounds, he got into something. And I know what it was. There was like a little bit of one of those gummies on my desk, because I would take it and like eat half of it, and then I'd have like the gummy's ass, and I'd be like, here, I'll put it right here. And there was an old gummy's ass sitting on my desk, and that dog was in my lap, and it got up there and it scarfed one down, and I was like, oh shit. Did you eat that little bucket, buddy? You didn't eat that, did you?
Sure did.
Oh. It's just like, oh no. And man, I felt bad for him. We took him to the ER, took him to the emergency vet. Like, it was marginally expensive.
Well, your dog's incredibly cool. That'll be $700.
Sick ass dog. Yeah. They did something. They pumped his stomach, or they or something. There was some fear that I think Zytol dogs.
Xylitol is stuff that's like in gum. Yeah.
That. And there was some fear that maybe the gummy had xylitol in it.
Yeah, that would be a bigger deal, because apparently it takes like way less of that per pound than chocolate to just kill a dog.
Yeah, I threw away all those.
They eat like half a pack of gum that has xylitol sweetener, they'll die. Even good-sized dogs, apparently.
Yeah, I threw away like all of those gummies pretty much, because that dog is like, I mean, they'll be put away. He'll open cabinets and drawers. He's ingenuitive. He's diabolical.
It's sad.
It is. Wonder where he got that.
Derek sent me a box. Derek sent me this little box, and it's got like some protein powder and a bunch of lock and load. Chicago formula. Oh my God, so effective.
Yeah.
And it's got a few other things. There's like 4 bottles of lock and load in there. And I like cut the top open with a little razor knife, and I was like peering in there, some protein bars and shit. And I was checking it out. And little Murphy systematically took all 4 bottles of lock and load and like got his little Murphy mouth around the lid, I guess, and plucked them out of the box and took them over and piled them up behind me. And he was just on his back rolling around in the middle of them. Like I turned around, like, what the fuck are you doing? What the fuck are you doing?
He's just like being a 7-pound dog. That's what you do.
I'm loaded, Kyle. Yeah, he's at least 10 pounds now. He's a big boy.
If you were to dose up Woody's dogs with lock and load, you'd have to give them the directed amount. You'd have
to give them testicles first.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, it's a huge downside.
So far, I've managed to keep the boss lady from taking Murph's testes because I want to make more Murphys. I want to stud him out.
They make him harder than their fixed thing.
So, all right. So I'm no vet, but my thought process on this that of course dogs are less likely to get testicular cancer if you cut off their testicles. I'm much less likely if I have a swimming pool as well. But what's the fun in that? I want a pool. Like, you know what I mean? And so I have that mindset, and I also have the mindset of the dog gets regular vet checkups. If he ever gets testicular cancer, then we'll very quickly remove his testicles as we would a human being before it metastasizes. He gets his testicles checked out of the doctor more often than I do. Like, trust me, we'll catch him. You know, it'll be fine. So, and I want him to keep his little balls. It's not like he's a big dog and he's like humping people or anything. He's just a little buddy.
I googled the neutering thing because I had heard it, but I was like, I wanted to fact check myself. Like you pointed out, they're less likely to get testicular, ovarian, mammary cancer and uterine infections. But they also suspect that a lot of the reason that neutered dogs are living longer is because of the type of people that have neutered dogs, right? An intact dog could be a stray. It could die into traffic and shit like that. Whereas the type of people that have neutered dogs are often staying in the house, laying on the couch, not dying.
Yeah, like the kind of dogs like my grandpa and his friends were using, like work dogs, like none of them were fixed. And so like every once in a while one of them gets fucked up, runs over a tractor or something.
Right.
We get all of ours fixed. We have 15 different dogs we get fixed over the years, just to keep them from multiplying, because oftentimes we'd rescue a dog and immediately pop. And it was like, oh, I see why the scumbags abandoned you. I see now.
And we've got 6 dogs.
It would be like that. And we have these lineages that would run their course throughout the farm. It was cute. You'd have like 8 brothers.
If you don't neuter your dogs, you get free dogs.
You do.
They don't want you to know about that, but it's true.
Oh my God, I'm glad you mentioned this. I watched this YouTube video, and it was like, here are 8 invasive species. We're going to rate from ecological collapsing invasive species to absolute devastation and apocalypse.
They didn't start the scale low enough.
But they did. That's the whole point. That there are like 8 different species that are so horrifically invasive. One of them was this asshole in Australia imported 24 English rabbits to eat. He wanted to breed them on his little land and eat them, and they escaped his fenced property. And guess how many rabbits there were in Australia from 24 in a short period of time, a couple years?
1.2 million.
Got 1.2 million.
I'm going lower. How many years is a couple?
What I mean to say, at the peak of their population, but for literal biological warfare was
I'm going way higher. I'm going to say 120 million.
120 million. 1 billion. There were 1 billion rabbits.
No way.
They created a virus because they couldn't. They put bounties on them. They poisoned them. They multiplied through it all. So they created a virus to kill these. It worked, but then they reduced on a quick set. They came up with a new virus. Worked most to it. Nothing down.
lions, and then you're fine.
And then we have Africa. We can go to like a safer.
I'm just going through the predator chain, right? Because then we have too many wolves, and then we put some lions in there, and then we have too many lions, and we put some elephants in there, and now we're all set. Australia, problem solved.
How about this, Australia? This one's free. You find something that can live off of rabbits, but that once the rabbits are gone, there is nothing else for them to eat. So you go like, you skip dingo, you go straight to wolf. The wolves are going to live on nothing but rabbits for like 4 years. They'll multiply a lot. Who cares if you get up to like 10 million wolves? Because then all the rabbits are going to be gone eventually, and then all the wolves will die of starvation. Now you're exporting pelts. Now you're...
Starvation kills them, do you think? You skip like 8 steps.
Well, the guard.
I'd still have a... And now Australia. It's another place in New Zealand where I know that the Kiwis are devastated by, I think maybe cats and rats and stuff like that. Like those little, those cute little Kiwi birds they got there. Like all of the little birds, they just go and they eat their eggs and shit. I watched a horror movie. It's the first New Zealand horror movie I'd ever seen. It's called Loop Track. And you don't really know what's going on, but basically this weird, doughy, nerdy guy, for some reason, you don't know why, has decided to go on a hike. They have this crazy long hike. It's almost like the Walk of Mordor. And it made me want to do it. Like, I don't like hiking, but Woody, I think if you watch this movie, you'd be like, man, I kind of want to do this kind of hiking. They have this...
It sounds like me.
They have this crazy loop. They have this loop track that goes out into, I wouldn't call it a jungle, but it's a very old forest. It's probably where they filmed Fangorn Forest. It's this old tropical-esque New Zealand forest, and it's a loop, as I said. I don't know how long the entire loop is, but it's many days. Call it. Loop Track is the movie, but I would search for a New Zealand loop track hike or something, because New Zealand is such a small island that there's probably only one. But it seemed like at the end of each day's hike, there was a hut, like a nice hut there with showers and a kitchen, and like a little house was already there for you to stay in, and it was there for that purpose, sort of as like a park service thing. It looked really fun. But along the ride, this doughy guy is meeting these other people, and he's so having such a hard time fitting, and they're the opposite. One guy is like so pushy car salesman, look like too slick for his own good, that you're like, you're crazy, dude, just shut up. But our guy, our main character, is just like having a hard time fitting in. He doesn't want to be around these people, but he's forced to, and he keeps seeing something stalking him, and you're like, are you seeing it, dude, or are you going crazy? Because you even look, you're like, I don't see it. And he's like, I see it. And I'm like, dude, bro, there's nothing there. And you don't know if there's any, really the end. Movie, I think it was maybe 90 minutes, so it wasn't an investment.
Does Mount Crichton ring a bell? The Mount Crichton loop track in New Zealand?
No.
It doesn't, okay.
But I don't remember them naming the loop track. They were more... There's this greasy guy, and then there's a couple. There's an interracial couple, and the greasy guy is like, you think maybe it's like an open couple, maybe a cuckold, maybe something like that, eh? I was dancing with over there, and he didn't seem to mind a bit. I'll find out. I'll get to the bottom of this. And our doughy guy's like, we need to look at the backpacks. Whose backpacks are those? Look at those backpacks. Don't worry about the backpacks. Let's get some pussy. And and I'm like, I'm kind of worried about, well, maybe pussy later, but the backpacks. Like, where are those backpacks? Like, they're backpacks.
Let him live.
Left there at the hut. And you're like, these backpacks belong to women. They're pink and purple. You know, they're like, and it's like, where are these two girls? Where are these two girls? The rest to stay in this little cabin on their like loop track journey, and as he's going through the canyon, is a story. And yet he's like way the shoulder in this digital camera. You're able to well, that's the guy, and the plot keeps thickening. And I was getting like, I didn't know the answer, you know, and dumb. But I found out like so early. I'm like, that's the bad guy. That's the let's guy. I liked it. I didn't love it. You know, like
Okay.
this isn't shocking.
A one-time movie.
It's a popcorn movie. Oh yeah, one-time popcorn movie. But it was horror, and it was creepy, and there was paranoia, and there was genuine like confusion on.
There was a I know there's going to be a twisteroo where she's actually the bad guy, and then it's like
sort of played on that mentality that I have, where I'm like, yep, you. Oh wait, double me?
Is the big twist that it's not twisty? Because I didn't see that coming.
Yeah. But yeah, there's a bunch of horror movies that I want to see. Nosferatu, I think it's Roger. There's a new one, and it's made by the guy who made Witch and The Lighthouse. I think it's Roger Ebert. I think that's his name.
Witch, the one with like 2 V's.
Anna Taylor, like she gets naked.
That was a pretty good one.
I love that one.
Black Peter, talk to me in the shed, Father.
What did Black Peter say unto you, child?
He said that Mary was a witch, Father.
Rightly it be, child. Come quickly.
That movie was.
Dude, those guys took the threat of witches so seriously.
They were so
there were no jokes to be made.
Dude,
and then the main guy is like that kind of grizzled dude from the past in so many different movies with like, I don't even know if he's American, but he's got like that gruff, deep voice. He's really good. I don't know his name, but I like him.
Yeah, that's a good movie. That's one of that's on my like Mount Rushmore of horror movies, I would say, because it's so simple and so well done. I bet it was cheap as fuck to make. I bet it cost like $1 million or something, rather than 30, 40, 50 million or something like you would think from I don't know if that Terrifier movie, I think those cost like $1 million each, and that new Terrifier movie has gone back into theaters for more money. I don't know how much the total made, but it's one of those. It's going to be one of those success stories about how little has gone in and how much has come out. Like it's going to be one of those super grossing films where because I know it beat the shit out of Joker 2, for example. Like Terrifier 3 beat the shit out of Joker 2.
Really? And I bet, I'm going to wager Joker 2 was a bit more expensive with Lady Gaga and Joaquin Phoenix and whatever else they're doing. Licensing the Joker probably or something.
Yeah, that was a complete flop. Everybody seems to really despise that. I'm just not even going to...
Who saw that coming? Hey, we're going to take this movie everybody liked and we're going to make it a musical. And then the people who liked the first one are like,
that's not even what people don't like. I like Lady Gaga and I like musicals, but they made it. But from what I understand, the story that the Joker character takes, the direction he takes, is just be like, hey, this is what I wanted. This is what anyone wants.
I wanted to see the Joker get molested. Is this going to make him more twisted?
Yeah, I don't think that would have been great if he got butt raped and he never laughed again.
Now there's a whole new element to how weird I am.
Every so often a show goes musical, and I love it. There was one, Kyle and I both watched Star Trek. Is it called Captain? What is that?
It's Strange New World.
Strange New World, you're exactly right. Yeah, and they had a musical episode, and it was great. It was fun. The actors could genuinely sing and clearly had talent, and the ones that couldn't sing somehow pulled it off.
Exactly. Of course, like multi-talent singers, and
very good black woman.
Yeah, and come in for the comedic relief. They're like an NSYNC boy band, and normally they're like the gruff honor society, and like way more action than words,
and they
doing
absolutely hate what's happened to them, but they can't resist it. What happens is they find something floating in space that makes everybody sing and dance, and the humans are like, oh man, this is quite the conundrum. We need to figure this out. Someone for this, and it's funny. Well, their boy band, it's great. Buffy the Vampire Slayer did a musical. I'm in. I loved it. That might be the very best Buffy episode.
It's great. It's great. I liked Buffy a lot. I watched it when I was, I guess, in middle school and high school. And I remembered it being. I remember the first episode I ever saw. There was, like many of the episodes were, it ended up in like a nightclub and her killing a bunch of vampires. And I caught it like toward the end of the episode. I thought I was seeing a movie. Again, I was like probably 12 or 13, but I was like, when it ended and I realized it was a series, I was like, what? This just comes on every Friday night? This is awesome. There's like hot chicks fighting vampires and shit. And then sometimes the vampires fuck them in the ass. This is crazy. Wait, is that monster threatening to rape her with his demon dick? Yes. This show is crazy. And what, she's got a hot sister too? Like, wait, all of her friends are hot? It was great. All of her friends are hot. Everybody's a demon. Oh, that one there's lots of naked of her. Anyway, big fan of that show. That was a real coming of age show to me. For me, Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Show made Kyle even straighter.
Yeah, maybe a man.
You know what show really got my noggin jogging when I'd see promos for it in the mid '90s? No,
Alf,
Xena.
Oh,
Xena Warrior Princess. I would see those ads, and I'd like never ended up watching the show, but I'd see it when I was like 7 and be like, oh, there's something about this I really like.
Zach, show us a picture of Xena. Show us like a hot picture of Xena. It's Lucy Lawless.
It was the lady with the nice tits from Spartacus.
I was gonna say, adult Taylor revisited this love in Spartacus.
For sure. I watched that show, and every scene in Spartacus, they'd be like, Domino, we must discuss the new latest and all of the rules therein. And he'd be like, bring me the largest breasted woman in the kingdom. Soak me up.
I have some new tour dates to let you know about. I'll be in East Lansing. I'll be in Toledo, Ohio, Rama, Ontario, in the Canada, Pittsburgh, PA, Eugene, Oregon, Kennewick, Washington, Seattle, Washington, Victoria, BC, in the Canada, College Station, Texas, Belton, Texas, San Antonio, Durant, Amarillo, Oxford, Mississippi, howdy, Fayetteville, Arkansas, Tuscaloosa, Alabama, Road Pad, and Tallahassee, Florida, Rosemont, Illinois, Winnipeg, and Calgary in the Canada. Get all your tickets at theovon.com/TOUR. Thank you so much for your support, and thank you to the fella in Montana that gave me this jacket. Got some Indian artifacts on the back.
Oh, come on, dude.
And I just want to say thank you. I really like this jacket. We've also got some new merch, some new Gang Gang tees in pepper and ivory, and we've got a new Gang Gang hat that giggity. Check those out and more at theovonstore.com. Happy holidays to everyone. Today's guest is an entrepreneur and a philanthropist. He worked at IBM, he worked at Bank of America, but most people know him as the founder of Craigslist, a site that has given so many unique experiences to the world. We're so happy to get to spend time today with Craigslist's own Craig Newmark.
Episodes ago, you had Brian Martin.
Yeah.
And I learned one big thing I'm thinking about what he had said. So I prepared him to mention that because he made me realize something, which I won't be able to do anything about, but at least understanding helps.
Oh, about anger.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, he's I thought Ryan Martin was really interesting as a professor over in Green Bay, because I think anger is something that's kind of enveloping people a lot these days, you know. I find it a lot in myself, and you'll almost get, obviously it's kind of embarrassing. You know, it's a weird feeling that's like, you know, it can lead to a lot of negativity, can lead to, you know, dangerous activities, but it also, I feel you get embarrassed of it, you know, and it kind of just takes you over.
Well, in my case, it's tied in with some traumatic stress. And my deal is I learned the hard way that no good deed goes unpunished. I learned that a person who's basically honest will never be able to successfully deal with a person who lies for a living. That's very frustrating because I have to keep it in. Some days somebody may be able to deal with it, maybe with some help from me. Someday, some situations may turn into some real drama, possibly criminal referrals. But I'm the kind of guy who people for years have been telling me that some areas I just don't have the skills, and I contribute by not talking.
So do you feel like you're kind of a quiet guy sometimes?
Generally quiet, generally restrained, except for reasons of comedy. I know that I'm not as funny as I think I am. And yet, like, I tell my philanthropic grantees that I would like for them to tolerate my sense of humor, but not encourage me. And so far, that's worked out well. Particularly last night, the Bob Woodruff thing. I did briefly hang out.
What was it last night? Just so we can to our listeners know.
Yeah. Last night, there was a fundraiser for the Bob Woodruff Foundation. They run a network called Got Your Six.
Your Six?
Got Your Six, like in the military sense.
Right, I got your back.
Yeah. And about 350 organizations who are actually good at helping. And many philanthropic organizations are challenged when it comes to actually helping. But these guys are good. They need a lot of money to help out vets and their families. And this was both a comedy concert and a music concert. The guys, I think it was Mark Normand.
Mark Normand was there?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's great. And we're both from New Orleans.
Well, starting from there, there's Jim Gaffigan.
Wow.
Jerry Seinfeld, and Jon Stewart on the comedy side, which was great for me.
Yeah.
And then on the music side, Nora Jones, and then there's this guy, Springsteen.
Yeah.
I had spoken to him before.
Yeah.
And I told him that as a nerd, I understood that he was very popular, but that I don't know his music. And he reacted quite satisfactorily. His jaw dropped. His wife, this was a few years ago, his wife got the joke immediately. The better part of the joke is I was being literal. I really am a nerd.
Yeah.
I'm the kind of guy in the late 60s in high school. I wore a plastic pocket protector, thick black glasses taped together, no social skills.
So did you kind of embody that nerd thought? Like you saw a nerd and you were like, I'm going to be over here, I'll be there.
I had to originate.
Oh, this is right here.
You found in the store of old photos.
Oh, wow,
That's me in high school.
That's nuts.
Those are the thick black glasses.
Oh, yeah.
Not taped together. Now, see, I can simulate or fake normal human social behavior now, but it is a simulation. I have to work hard on it all the time, and after a while, I will start getting cranky.
Okay.
But the nerd cliche originated right around when I was around, so I do take credit for it.
Well, we're glad to have one of the most nerdtorious humans, Craig Newmark. Thanks for hanging out, man. I appreciate it.
Oh,
we're Chelsea #2. Do you know that? I know you're a Leonard Cohen fan.
Yes.
So, and he had songs were based out of here. I think he spent time with Janis Joplin here.
He did.
Yeah, allegedly.
And well, I'm near where I live in the village, not far away, walking distance.
Mm-hmm.
I have a friend, my comedy consultant, and he lived here during that heyday. He knew both of them and others. He was intimidated by Leonard Cohen, because his friend was in the process of transitioning from music to comedy, which turned out to be easier for him to do. He was really big in the 70s and 80s. He may not have invested well, because I saw him yesterday, but he's much funnier than I am, for real. And that's why I know that I'm not as funny as I think I am.
Very fair. You're doing okay with me so far.
Thank you. If I knew you better, I believe comedians indulge in a practice called breaking balls.
Oh yeah.
I will introduce my friends sometimes as a guy who used to be funny. I will tell him, oh yeah, comedy requires actually funny material.
Yeah, that's a good starting point.
But he's given me a couple jokes to use, reminding me that at his age and my age, when you get down to tie your when I do get down, I have some worries about being able to get back up again.
Yeah. When you're down to the floor, sometimes I don't want to sit down. We used to listen to Leonard Cohen when I was a kid. My mom would put it on when we would have to clean the house on Saturdays, and my mom would put it on. That I remember that song, "When the Walls Came Down."
Okay, that's older school even for Leonard.
All the way to hell. And I'd be like, all right, I'll clean.
Yeah, I vaguely remember in like '88 or so, On Your Man premiered, and I love that. First we'll take Manhattan, and then I found various positions.
What is that first? We'll take Manhattan.
Then we'll take Berlin.
Then we'll take Berlin. Yeah, dude, that's crazy. Those lyrics have mildly been in my head over the years, and I didn't even know that's where they were from. They're from Leonard Cohen.
Yeah, he influenced a lot of musicians after. He's my favorite too, in an obsessive way. And now and then when I'm in the right mood, I will listen to him. He's not cheerful, by the way most people will think about him.
He's a little dark.
Yeah, but he's uplifting if you're into him.
Yeah, he reminds me of a kind of a darker Anthony Bourdain of music in a way.
I haven't thought about that, but I'm trying not to think too much about food.
Okay. Well,
Well, my problem simply is that since I've been on the run all morning, I did pass a place which had what looked like a good slice of pumpkin pie.
Oh yeah, brother.
I, however, may have been disappointed. So I'll think of something later this afternoon.
Something a little less risque, huh?
Well, my problem is that food is just too delicious, and it's hard to know when to stop.
Yeah, well, it's funny because they don't put a stop sign at the bottom of a dessert or something.
That may or may not be helpful. I will face the challenge in roughly 2 hours.
Okay, there we go. Well, we have you for a limited time today. I do want to talk. You are the Craig from Craigslist.
Yeah.
That is true.
Yes.
Okay. And how did Craigslist start? Like, I know it's a basic question, but you don't even think about it as a regular human. We don't even know that you're real. You don't even know.
Yeah, and I occasionally tell people that Craig is fake, like Betty Crocker. My deal is that I moved to San Francisco mid-93.
Okay.
And I saw there were a lot of people helping each other out on the net. Sometimes doing so, giving away expensive consulting time. And I took advantage of that. People helped me settle in, told me
looking for information about living in a new area.
Yeah, a lot of this was through The Well, an early virtual community, some from Usenet news groups, which were the first big deal discussion boards. And there was the spirit that we were all going to use the net to help each other out.
Yeah.
So I thought I should get back. Started a simple CC list, telling people about what I thought were cool events, usually arts and technology, like Joe's Digital Diner or the Anand Salon, which was a part of the fundraiser for a local theater, highly entangled with the very earliest Burning Man. And I never got involved with that because I realized that I'm not a burner at heart.
Yeah.
But it is known, it started growing via word of mouth, and I started asking for more stuff than just events. Like if people wanted to sell something, if people had a job or an apartment.
So that's how it started. You started just emailing people just with information about things to do in the area. It started to grow. And it was just an actual list of people you were sending a message to.
Yeah, it was literally an email CC list, and that broke at 240 addresses. I had to use a listserv. I had to give the thing a name. I'm very literal as a nerd. I wanted to call it San Francisco Events, since it was still mostly that. I don't have much of an imagination. But then I was going to call it as an events. People around me that naive. They were called it Craigslist. Just kept growing increasingly. For the first 3 years, just me.
And how often was the list going out?
Whenever somebody had something, I would send it out.
Okay, so is that once a week, twice a month?
If I was lucky, it could be, let's say, something worthwhile a few times a day.
Oh, nice. Okay.
The deal is not that.
Joe Rogan Podcast, check it out.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Train by day, Joe Rogan Podcast by night, all day.
We got cigars. We got coffee. We got Mike Rowe. Carl's over there snoring. So what were you doing on QVC? What are you selling?
That was the greatest line from Blazing Saddles, by the way, with Gene Hackman.
Which line?
He says, cigars?
Fucking
Remember, Peter Boyle has come. He had just left, and Gene Hackman is there after getting the soup spilled in his lap. And he's basically saying, I had cigars. As the creature stomps off in Frankenstein.
I don't remember that. It's been too long since I've seen that movie.
Best,
He's a little bit of a fucking distraction. Can he calm down? Trank him. Oh, we hear him. We don't have our headphones on. Maybe we should put our headphones on.
I thought you were talking about me.
No, Carl.
For an awful moment.
We wore him out. Jamie was throwing the toy for Carl. And I was
He's such a great dog. He's got,
he's adorable.
It's such a personality thing. And that, for me, with dogs and pets in general, like right away if this thing has a personality.
Oh, Carl's got a lot of personality.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, and
like a little kid.
And a person name, which I think is super interesting. Mine's Freddie. He's a terrier.
I like a dog with a person name.
Yeah, me too.
Like Fido? What the fuck is a Fido?
No one knows.
Well, actually, oh no, that's Philo. I was thinking of Clint Eastwood in Every Which Way But Loose. He was Philo Beto.
Could also be Philo Farnsworth, who created the television.
For real?
Yeah.
Did only one guy do it, or was it one of those like light bulb type deals where like a bunch of people are scrambling for it?
What do they call that? Like a hive mentality.
Right? Yeah, right.
Like that happened with the integrated circuit, right? When Kilby at Radio Shack was doing the same basic work, I think, that Robert Noyce was doing for Intel. And one was here in Texas and the other was in California. And they had never met and they had never compared notes, but the work on the circuitry was so close that they wound up sharing the Nobel Prize.
Oh, that's interesting.
Super strange. But that, I don't know.
That's a common thing with human beings and it's this concept of morphic resonance. Have you ever heard of that concept?
No.
Rupert Sheldrake, he wrote about this, and the idea is, and it's based on some actual facts too, about there's some real statistics about rats. Like if you teach a rat how to run a maze on the East Coast, rat on faster. It's like they learn the pattern somehow or another. It's very bizarre. There's like information that's apparently shared across species, and the idea is that somehow or another they're quantumly entangled, like that the entire group of these specific types of animals are quantumly entangled or entangled in some way that we don't understand.
So it's a kind of, I would think biological evolution might flirt with that. I read a paper. A guy wrote, name was Patrick House. This was his PhD, and he was talking about Toxoplasma gondii and histoplasmosis. And it's a crazy paper. His real premise was trying to understand the phenomenon of the cat lady and why, why every culture, like this isn't unique to America. In every culture, you can find a woman who, 2 cats, 3 cats maybe, but like went all the way to 38, right? And just was like, this is perfectly normal. So his paper was what happens to a person's brain to tell it it's normal to have 38 cats. And then it gets super complicated because he identifies a gondii that lives in the cat's gut and basically breeds there. And what he learned was when the cats were crapping, the gondii would come out, and then the rats and the mice that ate the cat crap, something was happening to their brains on a neurological level. This gondii basically disabled the part of the brain that would tell an otherwise sentient rat to run from the cat. But suddenly they weren't running, they became prey, they became docile, and the cats started obliterating the mice and rat population because this thing that was breeding in its ass was easier to catch. So Dr. House thought, well, I heard about why pregnant women should stay away from cats because that can have an effect. And a rat's brain and a human brain have a surprising number of parallels. So he basically postulated that, Doris the cat lady was living a fairly normal life until she got just a little bit of cat on her fingers and ate it. And the gondii disabled the part of her brain that said, hey, maybe 2 cats is enough.